All right, all right, all right. Welcome in. This is Toilets to Titles. This is episode number 165. This is the third annual Super Bowl banger. So it's crazy to think this is our third time doing this, man. And every year we've gotten a little bit bigger. We've had tons of guests, but we've assembled such a mighty crew. So the intro decided to cut me off over there, but it is all good. Just some we're in a bit of a transitional phase. I feel like we are like when like critters shed their skin when they're ready for growth. We are in a stage right now at Toilets to Titles where we are ascending. We are climbing mountains. We are growing within the network. We are growing within the team, and huge things are coming. And that was just a little that was a little shake, but we got to shake before we can break out, man. And I am here again. This is Toilets to Titles. I'm Coach Sheps. I'm here with my crew. In the past, we've brought on tons of guests when we do the Super Bowl banger. This is our fun episode. This year, we brought on a guest, and we'll introduce him in a bit. But besides that, it's really just team members. If you've been following our content, if you saw us at the Reese's Senior Bowl, we recently just merged with the CFB Nation, Real Ones Productions. All of our college football content is going to be on the CFB Nation YouTube channel. We'll share the link. NFL draft, fantasy football. That's going to be on Toilets Titles. We're going to be working together. You're going to see the production quality go up now that we're working with Real Ones Productions. So we have a lot of cool things going on. And before I introduce everybody, and before I tell you a little bit more about our transition, I'm going to pass it over to my co-host, Justin Stevens, at JustinFF_.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. Welcome back to Toilets Titles. We thank you so much for joining us. Third annual Super Bowl banger. I was telling Coach just before the show that means that technically our third anniversary is coming up in May, and it'll be the beginning of our fourth year. And I mean, all of these guys right here are guys that I didn't even know before we started this show for very long. I think I may have barely known some of you through like group chats. I see what you're saying, Nate, but I didn't really know you, man. I really didn't.
Oh, we knew each other.
You and I, like we like gave each other a hard time about trade offers and shit, but we didn't really get to know each other. I mean, like a family. Like this is a family. We've been able to throw all this together in 3 short years, and after seeing what happened in Mobile, and we're probably going to get to that in a little bit, but as to see how far we've come in just 3 years, this is an exponential growth, guys. And I'm a math teacher at heart, so if you know anything about exponential growth, like we're taking off right now, and we're only at the very beginning. I can't imagine the amount and the level of growth that this monster is going to take on in the next 3 years. So I'm excited about it. Super excited about the Super Bowl, but not as excited about the Super Bowl as I am this team. That's for sure.
Well, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about the hiatus you're going to take, and then from there, I can make another announcement. So why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I'm taking a little break. I probably at least 6 weeks, probably closer to 8. I'm falling behind in my classes, partly because of this exponential growth, but thankfully, because of all the guys that we have on the show and the fact that we can call up anybody at any given moment to fill in for anybody. I feel confident that I'm leaving this in good hands. Our boy Nino in the background is a guy that wears all sorts of hats. He's one of the guys that I'm relying on to fill in for me directly, and then also directly the announcement you're about to make, Coach. But again, it gives me this ability to take this little bit of time off so that I can focus on my school. I can get this semester knocked out, and then I'll make plans for the future from that. But again, thank you all, everyone that's on this screen right now, and everybody in the new chat and everything for stepping up while I'm gone. I'm just thanking you in advance because I know you guys are going to kick ass while I'm gone.
I was going to say that comment. Can Lori stay? That is gold. that is necessary. We'll have to reach out to Lori, and we can make sure to have her stick around for all the live shows. But all right, with that, I'm going to make an announcement here. We linked up Fantasy Vibes. We linked up with CFB Nation. We linked up with Real Ones Productions. And I have a new co-host, at least for the foreseeable future. And that is my guy, Moon himself, at FF_Moon Vibes on the Twitter. So Moon, this is your first introduction, man. So go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Um, let's start off with the fact that I'm very animated. We can start there. We can also start off by the fact that I think Coach, I cannot fill the shoes of Justin, but I will do my best to deal with Coach and all his shenanigans for the next foreseeable future, however long that is. So I'm excited. But T2T, I'm Deshaun. Everybody calls me Moon. You've seen me around over the course of the last couple of months doing NFL mock drafts and things of that nature on the T2T platform. I'm a part of Real Ones Productions, COO of Real Ones Productions with my guy KT. We do CLB Nation. We've seen the merger happening right now, which we're very, very excited about. And you should be excited about too, because it's going to be uptick in everything, production, content, everything. But for this show, I'm just excited to be here, especially for Super Bowl week. And Justin, again, we're going to miss you, man.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
I wanted to say thank you to Moon for filling in while I'm gone, and I didn't get the chance to say while I was talking because I wanted the official announcement. I wanted that suspense. It was all really just for me, but Moon, man, we got to know each other quite a bit this past week.
Yes.
In a great way. Like this is going to be a wonderful friendship, a wonderful relationship. So and you're kicking it off right out the gate. Like there was no hesitation. Coach mentioned, we got a new fantasy guy on the team. I'm sure maybe we can ask because everybody else is already doing so many other things. And like you didn't even hesitate. It was like, yeah, I can do that time. Like everybody else pulls up a calendar and they have to stop and think about it. Maybe go talk to the girl, but you're like, oh, I'm good. I got this.
Yeah, well, what I was doing was I was secretly interviewing Moon for the spot when I played him in pool like 20 times over the course of 2 or 3 days while Nino and KT and Mike and then occasionally Moon were getting on the computer. I was just kind of standing there. Let's play pool. Let's play pool. So that was my my little interview there and smashed the interview. So we are happy to have him. But with that, let's move on to the fun, man. You spoke of Coach Shep's shenanigans, and this show is a lot of shenanigans. We got a lot of guys here from the team. Now I'm going to introduce the guys from Toilets and Titles, and then I got the guest. He's been waiting a long time. He's going to wait a little bit longer, but I want to we saved the best for last here at Toilets and Titles. So Chris, just hold up. We got you, man. So we're looking forward to introducing you. But I'm gonna go at the top right, my man, one of the original hosts of Toilets Titles, and he's now at Dollars to Deuces, which is revamping and getting ready for the upcoming season. That's my man Nate at Nate_Dirt19. Nate, was cooking.
Not much, man. It feels good to be here. I missed out on the awesome stuff y'all did in Mobile, so I was watching from afar, wishing I was there. But I was actually getting over COVID, so I feel a lot better now. We're back, pumped for the Super Bowl. Upset football's about over, but hey, happy to be here. So, and pumped for all the exciting things to come. So it's been a whirlwind in the last few days. So yeah, it's awesome to have everybody here.
Man, it's funny, no knock to the Packers, but you could tell like a Packers fan by not being excited about the offseason or the NFL draft because the season goes very well. But for me, man, like our season doesn't usually go very well with the Cowboys. So I'm more into the offseason, but you all know that. I've been singing that tune for a while. It's a season of optimism and I feed off optimism. So I love it. So bring on NFL draft season. I'm going to pass it over to the Spaceman. We had the Moon Man on, right? We got Jason, the Spaceman down there at BFT G at BFTG. That's hard for me. That's like a tongue twister. Jason on the Twitter. Jason, what's cooking?
Oh man, I'm happy to be talking to football again. I did miss you all up in Alabama, but somebody's got to stay home and watch the kids, so that's what I did.
Yeah, someone had to stay home and watch the kids, but we probably could have used a little more. We could have used a little more adult supervision out there.
Especially at the Mardi Gras parade.
Yeah, maybe next year we'll sign you up for that. All right, and then speaking of guys who needed some adult supervision, one of them is right next to me. That's George. That's at George Reed FF on the Twitter, man. I'm still rolling off the Buc-ee's experience you had me go through, man. Appreciate you for that. How we doing?
Doing absolutely fantastic. Coach had what I like to call an experience up down in Alabama. He got to experience his first Buc-ee's. He got to experience his first Waffle House. And those two things, by the way, are polar opposites. The only thing that was really sad is the wait staff did not fight anybody at the Waffle House. That didn't happen. It didn't live up to the stereotype. But outside of that, like, we gave Coach an experience when he went down to Alabama.
Yeah, I loved it, man. I loved it. And you guys really gassed up Waffle House. This is going to be terrible. You're going to hate it, but you're going to love it. I was like, it's too late. I'm running off of like 12 hours of sleep over the last 5 days because I'm trying to keep up with Nino. And now I can't deal with the mind games you guys are playing with me, but it all worked out. And then to wrap it up with the trip to Buc-ee's was phenomenal. And then we got another cat who I think maybe we'll get him down to Mobile in the future. He made it to Canton. He's got a lot to do up in North Jersey, so he's got a busy schedule. But, man, this is a guy who wears a lot of hats for Toilets and Tunnels, too. So he's one of the unsung heroes behind the screen. That's my guy, Joe, at JoJ_Clark on the Twitter, also known as Joe Knows. Joe, what's happening?
Hey, everyone. Well, I have been to Waffle House before, and I'm a big fan myself, but I've never been to one in Mobile, so it might be a different experience over there. But definitely looking forward to hopefully going next year. And but man, when I saw the pictures and the videos coming back from Mobile, from Senior Bowl, I was like, man, I wanted to go down anyway, but when I saw the pictures and videos coming back, I was like, oh man, I really want to be down there now. So hopefully next year we'll see. But yeah, we've been to Canton this past summer with you guys. That was a blast. So Mobile's got to be the next stop. Justin.
And he's muted.
I'm assuming this is another big first, too. Was this not your first Nelly concert? Oh, holy crap.
Yes, that was my first Nelly concert as well. We don't even mention, like, so here we are. Here we are. So sorry to go off the rails a little bit here because it is a Super Bowl episode. But here we are getting to Mardi Gras after going live in a restaurant. I believe it's called Game Changers in Mobile, Alabama. If I'm not misspeaking, I believe that's what it's called. And we're like, let's go to Mardi Gras. We say bye to Nino. We say bye to Jared. We go to Mardi Gras. We get there and we see people leaving and they're like, oh, it's parade's over. So like, dang, the parade's over. We're a little disappointed. And I'm like, hey, where do we go? So someone pointed in a direction. Go down that street. That street's pretty cool. Then we find a cool looking building. And I figure Mike, Mike's our camera guy, man. Mike's smooth as hell. I'm like, Mike, look at that cool building. Let's go take a picture. And we go take a picture of the cool building. Everybody comes down. Then I see a row of porta potties. So I start heading towards the row of porta potties. So I'm getting further and further away from where we started. And once I get to the row of porta potties, I start to hear music and noise. And I go to Justin. I'm like, man, I think there's something going on over here. We start going in that direction. And the Mardi Gras parade just started. So there must have been 2 parades or whatever, because we ended up seeing the entire Mardi Gras parade. And then we leave that. We start walking down the street and we hear more commotion and noise. And there's a Nelly concert going on. And the boys, KT, Moon, Mike, they have their credentials on. We forgot our credentials, me, Justin, and George, because we're not responsible. We needed adult supervision. And the security guard remembered, because we had Toilets and Title sweatshirts on. He remembered us from the Senior Bowl. So he let us in. So now we're like up close and personal with Nelly. And I didn't expect any of that. So, man.
Was Walk-Ons Bar and Grill and Bistro down in Mobile. Let us do a live show there, and there were a couple of pretty awesome surprises there. A former NFL player that used to play for the Raiders. We're going to tease it. We're not going to give you out his name on this show. You got to go back and watch the live episode from Mobile, Alabama. But so we had a former NFL player for the Raiders that popped on at the end of the show. A couple of high school ballers that are hoping to potentially make a name for themselves that were there for a big camp. And then, of course, all the exclusive interviews, guys. If you're going to go back and watch former or older shows from last week, watch all those exclusive videos. Make sure you go to the CFB Nation and watch the exclusives on there as well on their YouTube channel. I mean, there was a lot happen, and it's all recorded, ready for you to watch.
Yes. I don't know why I said Game Changers, but I did. So I apologize. Yeah, it was.
Because we were game changers.
That's it.
I do have to ask, as a guy who wasn't there, you guys got really close at the Nelly concert.
Yeah.
Were you close enough to watch the sweat drop down his?
George was.
All right, I'm gonna get back on the rails. George, what is your so? You're gonna go in and explain how close you were to the sweat? Go ahead. I want to hear this, George.
So I was just going to answer Jason's question. Like, if I wanted, I could have reached up, wiped his brow, and then just wiped it on my shirt if I wanted.
That's not where that sweat's supposed to come from, George.
Listen,
until Jim Nagy tells him, get out of here.
Hey, Georgie, you got to tell the full story, my guy.
All I'm saying is shout out to Moon who graciously gave up his credentials real quick, and bigger shout out to Silent Mike, who is not with us, who is definitely the man to follow. That's all I'm going to say. I can't give away all the secrets. You don't know who's watching, but I am going to say shout out to Moon, shout out to Silent Mike, and that's all I'm saying.
All right. Jason, I do see the comment. We need to do a Waffle House challenge. I see your Waffle House challenge, and I raise you a Buc-ee's challenge. we need to do like you have to spend 24 hours in a Buc-ee's if you lose a fantasy league chat.
Did you? So I know you went to Buc-ee's. Did you use the restroom?
No.
You talk about 40 stalls of pristine bathrooms.
Love it.
Like it's literally, it's like
we love that on this channel. The
I could fall
channel. Moon, you're gonna get a lot of that toilet talk in here, man.
Okay. Just looking forward to it.
All right. Let me introduce our guest, man. I had this dude waiting for a long time, and last but not least, this is Chris Hine. This is the winner of the 2022 Frankenstank Listener League, man. I know he's coming back next year to win that title. He's coming on to help us with some prop bets this evening and talk Super Bowl. Chris, what is happening, man? How we doing?
Yeah, doing good, man. Pleasure to be here again. Looking forward to talking through some Super Bowl bets with you guys. But always an honor and a pleasure to be just chatting football with you, gents.
Yeah, I love the shirt, by the way.
So cool, man.
What brand is that shirt, Chris? Do you know off the top of your head? Is it just a?
There's just a friend made it.
Dude, your friend made it?
Yeah, she's a t-shirt. She makes her homemade t-shirts and stuff, so just got her to make this one for me. It goes with the gambling theme.
Yeah, if she's got a link, man, I hope she wouldn't mind, but if she has a link to her work, I'd be more than happy to share that, because I think that's a sweet looking shirt, and it's all about supporting local business. And I know you're in New York. You're not very close to me, but it's still local to me, more local than Moon, who's down there in Georgia.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jason said we needed to let Chris talk sooner.
Yeah, he's got that smooth voice. All right, excellent. I do want to discuss, I kind of talked about this lightly before we move forward. Again, we merged with CFB Nation, Real Ones Production. You're going to see the production quality go up. You're going to see all of our college stuff go on the CFB Nation YouTube channel. We'll have links to that associated with the Toilets to Titles YouTube channel on toiletstotitles.com. You'll be able to find their content and all that good stuff. And then the NFL draft will kind of sprinkle in between the two channels. The reason we're going to do that is because the college football fanatics, they're still holding on. They don't want to let go. And us NFL people, we're trying to pull the players out. So we're going to be bouncing NFL draft content back and forth. You'll be able to see P2P on CFB Nation on the clock. We'll still be on Toilets Titles, and look for a lot more, because the crew is determined. We're ready to go. But I also do want to mention to you, in year 3, or rather we're going on year 4, you are going to notice an uptick in quality over quantity. We are going to be focusing on nailing down our process, giving you excellent content. We're not just putting content out. That's never the goal. We are going to be trying to give you excellent content, and we're going to be focusing on that. And go ahead, Justin.
Is it just a coincidence that the quality is going to be getting better as I'm leaving for 2 months?
As long as Lori stays, it's a coincidence. It is a coincidence, but no, you're going to the lab, man. You're going to be doing your work. So make sure you're tuned in. We have a Patreon, so patreon.com/Toilets Titles. We got about 5 tiers if you want to support the show. If you want to help us get to places like Mobile and Canton, you want to help the increase of the quality, all that good stuff, get in our Patreon. And we are moving our Patreon chat. This is an announcement. We're moving our Frankenstank chat. So, Chris, this is an announcement. All of this is getting moved to one server, and it's going to be called Gilded. So download the Gilded app. We'll be sending out the links shortly, and there'll be tiers for, the people with Patreon access. They're going to have access to more channels. People with Frankenstank, they'll just be in Frankenstank. We're still nailing this down. Me and Moon were on the phone for like 2 or 3 hours today, and I know he was working a lot more than just the few hours we were on the phone there. So, Moon, why don't you give a little bit of a description of how Gilded is going to work, and then everybody who's interested, reach out to me, and I'll share the link with you after the show.
Well, first off, hopefully everybody's having a great day so far. Like Coach said, we talked extensively today. One of the topics that was brought up was about expansion and about the fact that T2T is growing massively right now, exponentially, as Justin would say. So with more people coming, we got to prepare for that. So we ended up building a new home for us. We're going to call it the Vault, but that has sentimental meaning to us right now.
Yeah. Why are we calling it the Vault? Go ahead a little bit. Get into description a little bit.
The Vault is where we stayed during our experience in Mobile, Alabama for the Reese Senior Bowl. So that has sentimental meaning to us for those that were there. But that's just a little bit of it. It's going to be very, very dope. If you are a member out there of the T2T family, you want to get into our Gilded server that we just started. We're going to have ways for you to level up your rewards. The more active that you are, the more that you support, and the more that you share, the more that you go up in your rewards. You can become not only a part of Title Tribe, but Title Tribe Gold, Title Tribe Silver. Depends on your engagement. That's going to be out there. As far as the guys, we're going to have our home for all of our conversations that need to be had, improve to our Discord server. And for the people that's out there that love Frankenstank, because I just recently found out how popular this was, we got you covered too. We're going to have a special home for you too. So we're going to be dropping a link a little bit later so you can come and experience our new home for us, and you can stay connected to everything that's going on in the NFL, college football, fantasy sports from T2T side. So yes, that's a major announcement there.
Hell yeah, that is excellent. And just because we're changing where you could find us and how you can chat with us, that's only going to improve, how much we interact with each other. So I'm looking forward to that. But there's a lot of things that are staying the same. We're still at toiletstitles.com. We're still on Apple Podcasts. You can still throw us a 5-star review if you look up Toilets to Titles on Apple Podcasts. You could still get in the Frankenstank Listener League by throwing us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and DMing it to me on the Twitter at Coach Sheps. You can also get into the Frankenstank League for free if it's a really good review. So all those things stay the same. So we're changing, we're adapting, we're evolving. We're also keeping all the good stuff that's stuck. I do want to let everybody know again, Justin kind of mentioned the Senior Bowl content. We're going to be rolling out all sorts of content over the next week or so. It's like 30 interviews and there's just so much going on there. Our interview with Jim Nagy, Cody Mock, there's tons of them out there. Chris Rodriguez, we have tons of interviews. You're going to be able to see all those. So stay tuned for that. Evan Hull, I believe, just went up. All right, that's on the CFB Nation. I believe Jaden Reed is up on the CFB Nation. Tajay Spears is up on the CFB Nation. JL Skinner, Riley Moss, Eric Gray are up on Titles. So check all those out. We are going to be doing, Nino, I know you're in the background right now. And I know I feel like this episode's going to be so long because we got so much stuff to talk about. But I'm going to discuss Nino's working on, man. He's all about the content, but he's also working. He's pushing us all to write. He's got all the writers writing, especially the writers who are at the Senior Bowl. I just dropped an article on the top receivers at the Senior Bowl. George just worked on one for running backs. Justin worked on one for quarterbacks. So go to toiletstitles.com. There's going to, under the NFL draft tab, there's going to be a Senior Bowl tab. You'll be able to find all that content. I know Campy's working on making that available on the website. Last announcement kind of before we get into, well, I got 2 announcements before we get into the Super Bowl, which we're all here for. The Playoff Fantasy Football League, currently top 3. We got like 70 guys in there. My son Emmett, first place, 526 points. Jesse Schuster's in second place with 506, and Matt Neidhart is third with 506. And I believe James Robinson, former T2T member. I think he's in like 4th with like 504, so it's pretty close.
Hey, go
So
get him, Emmett. Go get him.
Emmett's been bragging to all his friends at school, and then when I pick him up from school, when they're walking with him, they're like, "Is he telling the truth, John? A coach?" They call me coach. Like, coach, is he telling the truth? You know, is he? And I'm like, yeah, he's telling the truth, man. He's in first place. If you want another chance to win and you weren't in the playoff league, join our Super Bowl squares. Reach out to me on the Twitter at Coach Sheps, or reach out to me on the Gilded Chat, because we hope to see you in there. $15 a square, $13 goes towards the prize, $2 goes towards the titles. First quarter gets $200, halftime $300, third quarter $200, and the final is $600. So finally, I think that might be the longest intro I was ever a part of. And man, I can talk, so that's impressive.
You want me to help you out, Coach?
Yeah. Go ahead, man. Take it over.
All right. Beautiful people out there watching, you can subscribe for more at www.patreon.com/toilets to titles. And the $3 for the Discord T2T team chat. You got the $5 early access to WW episodes. You can invite to Frankenstank, $7.50 for one-on-one draft advice, DFS advice for the beautiful people that love fantasy. $20 can get you one-on-one roster analysis for 30 minutes, breaking down your league's draft, and a $10 free entry to Frankenstank. All of that and more by subscribing to our Patreon.
That's it. I'm going to have to change the verbiage, man. It's no longer Discord. It's going to get you into the special. It's going to get you into the special unlockable channels on Gilded. All right, fellas, let's talk about Super Bowl storylines. The first big one we got. All right, it's Andy Reid versus the Philadelphia Eagles. So the lost son of Philadelphia gets to come back, and the son, like, that's no play on words because he's big and he's red. All right, but I think it just works out. So I'm going to leave the table open. The floor is open, gentlemen. Go ahead and talk about Andy Reid versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, well, I'll start. And maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but I think Philadelphia is on paper a much better team than Kansas City, in my humble opinion. But I've always maintained that, and I think most people do as well, that there are two great equalizers out there. And that is when you have a great quarterback, which they have in Patrick Mahomes, and when you have a great head coach, who is Andy Reid. And when you have both of those combined, so like when you had Belichick and Brady, it makes a ton of difference. So on paper, myself, like I said, I think Philadelphia is a better team, but when you combine, just Mahomes and Reid and all that mastery that the two of them, the sorcery they have combined, it's going to make for an interesting game. And I mean, Andy Reid, you can't say enough about him. It's like I think we'd all pretty much say he's the best coach out there, the best head coach out there. I mean, me myself, I would say Belichick is, because of his longevity and how many Super Bowls he's been to. But Andy Reid has done it with two different teams, two different conferences. He's done it for a long time, and he's a master, man. He's one of the best head coaches of his generation, and he is an absolute difference maker, on the sidelines.
I drafted Andy Reid in our NFL startup draft a few weeks ago, and I paired him. I believe I paired him. With Trevor Lawrence. Feel pretty good about that. Does anybody else have any thoughts? Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
And that defense heavy team that I love that you drafted.
Yes, very defensive heavy. Go ahead, George.
So I just want to read off some of Andy Reid's accomplishments real quick. 130 wins, more than any coach in franchise history. 9 playoff appearances, 6 division titles, 5 NFC championship games. The only thing he didn't do was win a Super Bowl, but he did bring them to the Super Bowl. And all of that would be, you could put that on any coach. You'd be like, okay, this is probably a Hall of Fame caliber coach. But all of that was just with Philadelphia. That's not even including him winning the Super Bowl with the Chiefs and everything he's done with the Chiefs. So it's going to be an interesting game. He's going to go down as one of the greatest coaches in history. Earlier this season, I did a top 5 coaches currently in the NFL, and I had Andy Reid at number 1 as the number 1 coach, even over Belichick at this point in his career, because what Belichick did was very impressive. Don't get me wrong. Like, he did all of that with New England and with Tom Brady, and you can't take any of that away from him. But if you look at Andy Reid's record, and to be able to do it with 2 different franchises, for them to have the success that he has had over his career as a coach, it's the most impressive thing I've seen. I have him as the number 1 coach in the NFL. right now, and I had Bill Belichick as second.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, just real quick. And Coach and I are both fans of teams in the NFC East. Coach is a Cowboys fan. I'm a Giants fan, obviously. The last time a team of the NFC East has won the NFC East twice in a row was Andy Reid's Philadelphia Eagles, and they won them 4 in a row. Well, it's going back a while. I get it. But still, it's been that long since a team went back-to-back winning that division since, I don't know, like 2006 or something like that.
Go ahead, Justin.
My thought is there's very few positions, just looking at it on paper, where the Chiefs have one up on the Eagles. Just like Joe said, on paper, it looks like it's the Eagles across the board. Not all the way across the board. There's a few spots, obviously, but coaching, that coaching staff, and especially that head coach, is one of those spots where Kansas City does have a leg up on them. And we got to hope, if you're rooting for Kansas City anyway, or against the Eagles, like some of us, then you got to hope that Andy Reid does make that much of a difference. But to the Eagles' credit and to Andy Reid's credit, how often is it that a Hall of Fame caliber anything, much less a coach, will part ways with a team and it still works out really well for both sides? So that's really impressive on both ends, really.
Yeah. And all in favor, I know this is also an audio format. If any of you like Nick Sirianni more than Andy Reid, raise your hand.
It's a trick.
If any of you like Nick Sirianni more than a bag of farts, raise your hand. Moon does. George does. Jason does.
I want to talk a little bit. The thing I like most about Andy Reid, there's 2 basic types of coaches. There's the type of coach that has his plan and tries to shoehorn his players into that, right? We see it all the time. You've got guys that do special things and you don't utilize them to their potential. Andy Reid is not that guy. I mean, this offense is drastically different than the offense it was when Alex Smith was the quarterback, right? Like it's very different. The thing that Andy Reid does the best is he takes the talent he has on his team and utilizes them to their potential. The goal line plays for Andy Reid they're just incredible. The trickery around the goal line, the shovel passes to Kelsey, that kind of thing. They didn't do that stuff with Alex Smith. Was there? Why? Because Alex Smith really couldn't do that stuff. So just getting the most out of your players is the thing that I appreciate out of Andy Reid the most.
Yeah, we see the question in there. Is this Andy Reid's last ride? My answer to that is I believe no. I don't even think this is the last ride for the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, like toilets and titles, are going to evolve very soon. Honey Badger's gone. Chris Jones isn't going to be there forever. Travis Kelce isn't going to be there forever. They got young guys like George Karlaftis, Nick Bolton, Willie Gay. You look at the corners they have, L'Jarius Sneed.
New offensive line.
The new offensive line, Patrick Mahomes, they don't even have their alpha wide receiver right now. But I mean, Nate's shaking his hand, but they're not even. So there's a lot of positions that are young and they're rebuilding. And I don't even think this is the last ride for the Chiefs. I think within the next 2 or 3 years, besides Patrick Mahomes, I think there's going to be an even more dominant version of the Chiefs coming down the pipe than the one we see now, which makes it even more impressive that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are helping this Chiefs team go to the Super Bowl, because I don't even think this is the best version of the Chiefs that we'll see, over the next 5 to 7 years. So Moon, I know you wanted to chime in, my guy. So go ahead.
Oh, you set that up beautifully for me, Coach. Harvey Roseman, he comes to mind. He's the general manager for the Eagles after gaining, losing, regaining power over the last decade or so. At the core of who the Eagles are in their current roster, it's still a team that Andy Reid built. And his descendants are, and there's a lot of descendants, they're spread across the entire NFL. And you see the reverberations of Andy Reid. You see the coaches that use his philosophies and his tendencies and his systems. You see his handprint and his thumbprint all over the NFL. But specifically for the Philadelphia Eagles, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and Jason Kelsey. Those are the 3 that played for Andy Reid's Eagles in the early 2010s when he was last there. That's 10 full seasons, 3 coaching changes, 1 previous championship, highs, lows, rises, fallers, and only 3 players remain from that core. It's still a strong core when you look at who those 3 players are: Jason Kelsey, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox. The beautiful thing about this game, it's a Super Bowl. So over the course of the show, I'm gonna be giving you guru nuggets. But the city that's the game has been played in this year is Cleveland. Did you know that Cleveland is the only city with an NFL team that has not gone to the Super Bowl and not hosted the Super Bowl either? The only other teams that have not gone to the game but are in cities that have hosted are the Detroit Lions, the Houston Texans, and the Jacksonville Duval Jaguars. That's a guru nugget for you, coach.
Is it in Arizona?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard Cleveland. It's in Arizona. That's a nice guru nugget. Well, why don't we stick with the guru? All right. We got Patrick Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts. So Moon, why don't you lead us off? What are your thoughts and your feelings about this? Yeah, about this matchup, man. Go ahead.
I'm looking at it from a multiple angles. Like, you think Super Bowl, you think about the last year's Super Bowl had about 99 million viewers. So I want to know, like, who has the highest selling jersey between Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, because both were in the top 10.
Boomer would say it's Hurts.
Boomer would say it's Hurts. But both of them were in the top 10 this year in sales for the NFL. Mahomes was number 3 and Jalen Hurts was number 8. That's something that sticks out to me. We talk about their play. I don't feel like they play similar. I'm happy that we get a chance to see that. They both won in different styles in the championship round. So now that they're here, I think that this game could be a shootout. And I'm happy that it's been about 2 weeks. It's going to be about 2 weeks since these teams last played. So that gives Patrick Mahomes enough time to get some rest. That gives Jalen Hurts enough time to shake off some of the, poor play that he had in the first half of the game against the San Francisco 49ers.
Which is very easy to have a poor game against the San Francisco 49ers. Their defense elite. It's elite.
You're right. They predicted that they were going to be here at the beginning of the season. Philadelphia did, and I think Jalen Hurts is at the core of that. As far as a vocal leader, being carrying himself like the leader, even though he is so young. The same can be said about Patty Mahomes. How every year we kind of throw him off to the wayside, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, and but they're still here. It seems to be in these positions every year in and year out. So I'm interested to see how much that the jerseys do, for sure. I'm interested to see who's going to play better. If I had to put my money on anybody, I would say I put it on Mahomes, because he's been here, he's done that. He had the, but I do think that this game is going to be closer to when he played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where the pass rush is just swarming down on him, because Philly's defensive line, they rank number 1 in the league for sacks for a reason. So that's what I think about this matchup.
Yeah, and if Reddick can give a performance, I know he's outside, Devin White's inside, but Devin White completely wiped out everything the Chiefs wanted. I know the pass rush was everywhere, but Patrick Mahomes having to move around the pocket, knowing that Devin White was shadowing him and going sideline to sideline. If Reddick can do that, that'll be phenomenal. So go ahead, Justin.
So I'm a big history guy too. So we are going to see history this weekend at the Super Bowl. This is the first time in NFL history that we've had 2 African-American starting quarterbacks face each other in the Super Bowl. So it's pretty awesome to be able to see that, especially being a Colts fan. I got to see the first 2 African-American head coaches go head-to-head in the Super Bowl with Tony Dungy and Lovie Smith years ago. When we cleaned up the table there with the old Bears, but we get to see that history again this weekend. So that's one of the highlights that I'm excited to see. But I got to give the edge here to Pat Mahomes, kind of along the same lines as Moon there, where he said that it's you got to give it to the guy that's been there. He's been there, he's done that. Plus, he has had more trials to work through this season and in his career than Hurts has. Hurts has had the better schedule, all that crap. But at the end of the day, I'm admitting right here that I was wrong all season about the Eagles. I'm still on the side of the Chiefs here, but I've been wrong about the Eagles the whole season, and I'm willing to admit that.
Nino was right. Nino was all over Jalen Hurts this offseason. I know he's been victory lapping a little bit. He deserves it. So hats off to you. A little bit of applause. He's in the background, man.
I
Chris.
do think that it's highly likely, though, that we're going to see a quarterback win the MVP award.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think it's highly likely.
It's very. If the 49, I put money on Christian McCaffrey winning the MVP, because I thought the 49ers would make it. Once the 49ers got eliminated, the odds of a non-quarterback winning the MVP went out the window. But Chris, you've been sitting there patiently, man. I want to hear your insight on what you think about Patrick Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts.
I think what the guys have said is pretty much spot on. Hurts has got this chip on his shoulder. We saw him yesterday, I think. There's people apologizing to him, saying they've been wrong about him. He's like, all right, next. He has this attitude, like people have written him off all season. He's here to prove a point. So I think he's going to go out and obviously try and prove that point. He has the weapons to do it as well. I think a lot's been said about the Eagles defense, and obviously how they're going to come after Mahomes. But I also don't think the Chiefs defense has been given enough credit. Certainly their rush defense, they're top 10 in the league. So Hurts, I think, is where this game is won and lost, and what he does with his feet, not necessarily the throwing the ball. I think if he can rush for 60, 70 yards and a touchdown, I think that could be the difference. Mahomes, we know what he can do, whether he has 1 foot or he's fully fit. He's going to throw the ball. I think he's going to throw 300 yards even against this Eagles defense, because this Eagles defense hasn't played a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes this season.
It depends. It depends on if the refs. So I want to look up the officiating crew, and I want to see if this is one of the crews.
Coach.
Let's look that up, and because I know what the analytics of officiating. Some officiating crews call pass interference highly, and then some don't. And if this isn't a crew that calls pass interference, Slay and Bradbury are going to get away with a lot. And I still agree with you, Chris. I do think that he could throw for over 300 yards. It'll just be more difficult. But if this is a refereeing crew that's a little more likely to throw the flag when receivers are handsy, you're going to see Slay and Bradbury have to back off a little bit, and that's going to increase the likelihood that he's over that number. So just a thought. But sorry for interrupting your train of thought there, Chris. It's back to you, man. Oh, all right. Well, I was going to pass it back to Chris. Jason, go ahead.
So I think one thing we're not looking at is in neither of the two Super Bowls, Patrick Mahomes looked all that great. He threw for under 300 yards, both of his first Super Bowls, the one they won, the one they lost, 2 interceptions in both. And for as much as we remember the Buccaneers getting after Pat Mahomes, and he escaped a lot. He actually got sacked more in his win the first time around than the second time around. The guy was incredible, even in the Buccaneers game. He hit guys in the helmet because it went through his hands. Like, he hit guys where he needed to, and they just didn't catch the ball. Are his wide receivers in this game? Do we know how many of them are going to be in and how many?
We're going to get to that. We're going to that's a topic coming up. So let's before we talk about that, I just want to one quick question, Jason. Then I'll pass it back to you because I'll let you start off with that question. But my next question is Jason Kelce versus Travis Kelce. Which is your favorite Kelce? We're going to go around the room. We're going to start with you, Moon. Which Kelce do you stand with?
Jason.
Why?
Because he does all the dirty work that not a lot of people get credit for. And when you do the dirty work the best, so you're the best of doing the dirty work, like, I think he should get a lot more credit. This is not taken away from Travis as who he is as a tight end or as a person. I just think if you had to say, hey, Moon, who would you pick, right? Who would you pick to just sit back?
Hey Moon, who would you pick?
Pop the top of a cap with a beer for just sit back, relax, and enjoy it. I'm picking Jason Kelce because I feel like he will be able to relate to me a lot, and I feel like he's just one of the guys. Like, he'll just joke around with it. One of the things that I always see when I watch Eagles games is Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelce's relationship, center to quarterback. I think that's underrated coming into this game. So if you want to talk about the connection between Mahomes and Kelce, I would say that you can also say that there's a connection between Kelce and Hurts. So give me Jason. Give me the beer belly. I like that.
Yeah, I like it. All right, Nate, which Kelsey you going with?
Well, I guess I go with I guess Travis. I got to just because what he does, it's on the field. It's phenomenal what he does. You know, year in, year out, just stud. I know Jason Kelsey's also very, very good. But having a tight end like that's wild. So give me Travis.
All right, Joe, which Kelsey?
Travis, simply because he's not the Eagle.
There we go. I like it. Justin, which one?
So before I stumbled upon their podcast, it's really actually Jason's podcast. I would have said Travis Kelsey all day, every day, but Jason Kelsey on their podcast, he is absolutely hilarious. He's not that Travis isn't hilarious. I guarantee you that would have been an absolutely fun household to grow up in. But I'm gonna go with Jason because he definitely seems like more of a relatable guy. Yeah, just like Moon was saying, like we share the same belly, so. I gotta go with Jason.
You need me to go pop the top to a beer real quick, Justin?
Yeah. Who? George.
I
George, who are you going with? Which Kelsey?
Man, everybody knows that I'm a big guy. I want to see big guys score because when big guys score, big guys dance. Give me Jason.
But which one dances better? Travis, if we're talking about dancing, Travis has some moves, man. If we're getting in the end zone, I'd rather get in the end zone with Travis Kelsey. Go ahead, Jason.
You know, the problem is he gets in the end zone so much. We've seen it too many times. Imagine if we get to see Jason score. That would be incredible. I have to go with Jason, not just because Travis has been there for so long, but Jason suffered through some bad teams on his way to the last Super Bowl, and between that Super Bowl and this Super Bowl.
Boo-hoo. The guys won Super Bowl. Boo-hoo.
Listen, okay,
so bad for Jason Kelsey.
Listen, he's stuck with that same team through some bad teams. I'd go with Jason for that.
And just because his name is Jason. All right, Chris, you're the last one up, man. Jason Kelsey or Travis Kelsey?
Travis, no question. Like the guys. There's no better tight end that I've ever seen in all the years. You know, I've not been watching NFL for long, but in the last 5-10 years, I don't think there's a better tight end. And when you put the team on your back, like he's done multiple times this season, yeah, I think that's why I have to go with him. He will be, from the Chiefs' point of view, as much as they're reliant on Mahomes, they need Kelsey to have a big day to have a chance in this game. And he's a big game player, and I think he steps up on Sunday.
What Jason said in the chat was very funny.
Hey, Chris, can you do me a favor?
What's that?
Can you say gritty in your accent?
Gritty? I can say it. I can't do it.
I like it.
Wait. Can we get it in it?
In it?
In it.
I like that too. Let's listen. He's not like, we're not here to make Chris. Chris isn't here for our entertainment. He's here for everybody's entertainment.
If we see another Philly special, I'm putting my money on that. Somehow, some way, Kelsey is going to be involved in that. And to see Travis or Jason hit the gritty, that would be pretty fire.
That would be. Now, does the fact that Travis Kelsey continues to do so well, being that there are so few options in that Chiefs offense, does that say more about Travis Kelsey or does that say more about Andy Reid? Like, I don't know if it's Andy Reid just scheming him open or if Travis Kelsey is just so unguardable. You know, I don't know. But Justin, go ahead. I know you wanted to comment something.
Me?
Yeah, you raised your finger.
Yeah. Sorry, but it's called New Heights. That podcast, New Heights, is the podcast between Jason and Travis Kelsey, and their latest episode was one day ago, and they had their parents on to talk about what it's going to be like to be parents of these two watching the Super Bowl.
Oh, it's going to be so hard.
Super entertaining, and the reason that I call it Jason's podcast, it technically says Jason and Travis Kelsey at the bottom. It's Jason's podcast. That man owns it. He takes control. He's got personality for days, and Travis does too. But I'm telling you, you watch his podcast one time, and we get back on next week, you're all going to go with Jason. I promise you.
All right, excellent. All right, I want to get to these Super Bowl prop bets. I know Chris has some winners for us, but I'm going to let Jason real quick. He was kind of diving into this. We need someone to step up outside of Travis Kelsey for this Eagles offense. For this Chiefs offense. So maybe they don't, because Travis Kelsey, he's been getting it done regardless. So maybe he can do it. But what do you think about the weapons outside of Travis Kelsey and who's going to step up?
I mean, it's probably going to have to be MVS, right? He's the only one healthy.
Yeah,
I mean,
who
he's the
my
only one
son
fully
started
healthy.
last week or 2 weeks ago and crushed it. So Emmett, good play, good play.
Yep, I was just agreeing, dead on the nose. He has what is it? I believe it's 7 catches in these first 2 playoff games, and 6 of them was in the last game. But that catch in the first game against the Jaguars was for a touchdown. He's getting targets now. They're hurting, and even if the guys that they do have at wide receiver like Tony or whoever can play, I mean they're all banged up. He's the only
Is Juju gonna like have a? He
I
seems
think
like the
so.
type of guy who likes bright lights, man. Like he and you know what? He's played like he's been a good worker bee. Like he's done his job for Kansas City. He hasn't barked. Like they're winning. He's doing his job. Sometimes he's doing some very tough physical, chain moving catches. So he's doing what's asked of him rather. I wouldn't be surprised if Juju has a game that kind of shocks everybody. He gets in the end zone twice. And Juju, one of his best things wasn't necessarily the burner, the breakaway speed. It's yards after catch. All it takes is one big catch, one broken tackle, and Juju could make a big play. But Moon, you were kind of agreeing with me, so go ahead, man. Why don't you go on that?
No, I was saying like there was once upon a time, not long ago, there was a story about Juju on TikTok, and that's all he liked to do. And then that's not the narrative right now. In fact, it's like very quiet, like eerily quiet, and he's just keeping his head down, just doing the dirty work. And it's led to him being, kind of banged up this year. So we're gonna have to monitor that all the way up until Sunday about his status. But I would agree with you about Juju. I don't know about the 2 touchdowns thing, but I will say that his impact could be massive in this game. But I would say, if anything, based on what I saw in the Kansas City Chiefs last game against the Cincinnati Bengals, it was the rookies that stepped up throughout the entire game. Like, we all know about Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, but they got step-up performances from the AFC Championship game from rookie cornerbacks Jalen Watson, who had an early interception on Joe Burrow, Brian Cook, who came in, made plays, and Joshua Williams, who got the fourth quarter tip drill pick. They got performances from Pacheco, who went 5 for 59 as a receiver. And where Patrick Mahomes didn't have anywhere else to turn, he came through and delivered. And then the guy that I wanted to mention, Sky Moore, he had a 29-yard punt return to start that final drive for them. And I know Moore was kind of on the silent end until really the end of the game. And Watson was more on the silent end for most of the year. But it seems like they're coming around at the right time. And if I don't know, maybe Sky Moore in the special teams game could be like the X factor for me as far as a wide receiver.
Well, that's a little bit of a teaser. I think, why don't we take this into our prop bets? We're running out of time here. I don't want to keep everybody too long. Chris, we brought him on because he's a genius. Chris, why don't you tell everybody where they can find your prop bet and content, and then you could talk us through some prop bets that are going to win us some money.
Yeah, so Twitter @isthisjustff. We'll have a lot of prop bets over the next couple of days for Sunday, but going off what Moon has just said, one thing that I think has huge value is Sky Moore to score a touchdown. He's plus 950 to score any time. He's plus 4,700 to score first. I love that value on him to score first. I think it will be typically Andy Reid to scheme up something for Mahomes to put it downfield to Sky Moore. And I think, they're going to have to do something different. I think the Eagles are going to, know that, MVS, yeah, great. I think he goes over his current receptions prop is over 35.5 yards. And I think as the main wide receiver one, he flies over that. So I think that's a solid bet. But yeah, I think they're going to have to do something different with these guys that haven't really done much this season. And Sky Moore, yeah, I love Sky Moore's value to score a touchdown on Sunday.
All right, and then who else do you think can take us through your bets, man? We'll chime in. So floor is yours. So I know you got another guy to score the first touchdown. I know you got some receiving props. So take us through them, man.
Yeah, so I think from an Eagles perspective, I was torn back and forth between Devonta Smith, AJ Brown. I think we've seen over the last couple of weeks, Devonta Smith has been the one that's been getting the receptions. He's getting all of the yardage. But I think in a big game like this, I keep coming back to you go to your alpha. And Mahomes is going to go to Kelsey. I think Jalen Hurts goes to AJ Brown. And AJ Brown plus 1,000. So, you put $10 on, you win 100 if he scores first. I think that's a huge price.
I like that. I like that because he's been kind of quiet too. And I think it'd be in the Eagles' best interest. He's a momentum player. Like, he's a guy who, chunk yardage, big plays, physical receiver. He can kind of take the wind out of the sails of the defense. I think it would be in the Eagles' best interest to get A.J. Brown going early. If he gets a touchdown, that's a big momentum swing. So I like it.
You saw what he was doing on the sidelines this past week. He wanted the ball. He was salty because he was not getting the ball. He wants to be involved. Philly, y'all know he wants to be involved, but the tough thing is, because the Eagles' ground game has been so beautiful as of late, and they can run it so much, it's made them not have to depend on AJ nearly as much. So I love that bet. You said put down $10 and get 100.
Yeah, take that and run with it. All right, what are your other prop bets? Go ahead, Chris.
Yep. On the same lines,
I lost him for a second. All right, go ahead.
AJ Brown receptions. He's plus money. AJ Brown is plus money to have over 6 receptions in this game. So, like Moons just said, like, he wants the ball. They've been trying to get him the ball. Like, he had 8 targets in the San Francisco game. He had only 6 targets in the Giants game. But the back end of the season, he was having games with 10 targets, 8, 9 targets. So I think they go back to him. I don't think he continues to only have 3-4 receptions per game. So I think huge value, plus 102 for him to be over 5.5 receptions is basically double your money. That being said, there's another one on FanDuel. You can get each team to score 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals at plus 440. And I think the field goals are going to be key. Both teams are going to get in the red zone a ton. The red zone defense will be pivotal to the outcome of this game, but they're not going to. Both teams are going to want to put points on the board, right? I think we saw it a few years ago in the championship game between the Chiefs and the Bengals, when the Bengals were down at the half and they were in field goal range and the Chiefs went for it instead of taking 3 points, and then they lost the game by 3 points. I don't think Andy Reid makes that mistake again. So I like that bet, both teams to score 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals at 440. I feel like there's a lot of value in that one.
I like it. Last year, I asked my son, I said, heads or tails?
And then
sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I think there was a little bit delay. I was just saying, last year I asked my son, I said, heads or tails? He said tails or head. I don't know what he said, but I put $100 on what he said, and it ended up being correct. So I had made a bunch of small bets, and I usually only bet like $15, $20 on prop bets. So I started up 100, which was like, it could have stunk if I lost, and then I would have started. But starting off up 100, before even the opening kickoff, was such a huge sigh of relief. So I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to hope to have the same results. So I will keep you all posted. I'm not going to put the pressure on him. I'm just going to ask him subtly, so he doesn't have a chance to think about it. He just drops it to me. But Chris, I'll let you discuss your last prop bet, and then we'll get into some Super Bowl predictions.
Well, it's funny that kind of links in really well. Like, it was back Super Bowl 48, I think, was one of the first times. It was the Seahawks against the Broncos. That was 2014 Super Bowl, and I was watching it back home in England with a lot of my friends, and one of them did exactly what you've just said, and he put £100 on the coin toss, got it right. So he's up money. He's doubled his money. He's got £200 in his account, and he looks through and he's like, how often do safeties happen? And I was like, there was a safety in last year's Super Bowl, but like, are we going to go for it? And he was like, yeah, well, what's this? Safety to be the first scoring play of the game. Yeah, that'll do. And I was like, are you kidding me? What happened? Safety, first play of the game. The guy wins.
We need to get this guy on the show.
Like, and that was it. So like every Super Bowl since, we have this standing bet where we put money on a safety being the first scoring play of the game. There's been no say. I think it was something silly. Like there was 3 in a row. 2012, 2013, 2014. There was a safety in each game. But
then they wrote it out of the script.
Yeah, exactly. So it's about time that it's due again. So I mean, it's huge money, but I mean, it's a couple of dollars here and there. I think so. That's the kind of standing bet I have as well, which is just a fun one to go for the first couple of minutes of the game until someone kicks a field goal. Right.
Love it. We're all going to win a lot of money because of you, Chris, and we appreciate that, man. You want to follow him at IsThisJustFF on the Twitter. He'll give you some more advice because I'm sure he's got a lot more he's been working on. He's saving all the good stuff for the Twitter handle. And it's funny how I mentioned the script, and all the guys on this side of the show that were in Mobile really got a kick out of that. That was definitely a running joke. And then everyone over here, they didn't really crack a laugh. So it hit with half the room. So, gentlemen, it is time to make some Super Bowl predictions. Nate, I'm going to let you go. Yeah, go ahead, Nate. Go ahead.
I got one quick prop bet to throw in there because I forgot about it.
Please be Chris Jones. Please be Chris Jones. Please be Chris Jones.
Now, I mean, we can talk. I got some other defensive bets we can talk about another day. But opening kickoff will not be a touchback. I think I said that last year. It's plus 124 right now to not be a touchback. It's 18 out of the last 21 Super Bowls. It hasn't been a touchback. So, yeah.
Wait, can I interrupt real quick? We have a comment. This might be my favorite comment of all time. It'll definitely go in the comment Hall of Fame. Shout out to Stephen Kinsley.
Oh yeah,
who says shout out to the algorithm sending me here for whatever reason. That one. I want to take a picture of that comment and throw it in my Twitter banner. So go ahead, George.
Steve, I know the algorithm sent you here for whatever reason, but while you're here, please hit that subscribe button. Help us out. Yeah. Do us all a favor. We're on the grind to 1,000.
What a weird thing to say.
And you can help us out. So I appreciate the algorithm. More importantly, I appreciate you. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button.
Hey,
Steven,
George means all of that for real.
So no, seriously though, Steven, you hear that accent from Chris. That's worth a subscribe button itself. We appreciate you listening, man. He
said he's going to do it, man. We appreciate you joining the title tribe and
Steven,
get in the Gilded chat, man.
When you get a chance, drop your link to your final score for the Super Bowl in the chat.
Yeah,
let us know.
Hell, man.
What were we going to say though?
If he predicts the Super Bowl, if he predicts the correct winner, if he sticks around, I'll give him a free entry into Frankenstank. How's that sound? $25. Steven, you can win a free entry into the Frankenstank Listener League and possibly take the trophy from Chris Hind here if you predict the Super Bowl. So I'm sorry. Nate, back to you, my friend.
No, you're good. He said it's plus money, which is wild this year. That it's like I said, bet $100, $124. Right? What was that?
For the touchback, right?
Yeah, for it to not be a touchback.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also the ball is like brand new, never touched. So it's like kicking a rock and then it goes right to the Hall of Fame. So kind of another, reason why it's harder to kick. So yeah, plus money. 18 out of the last 21 Super Bowls have not been a touchback. Pretty good odds.
Wait, that means who's the Eagles kicker?
Riley, I think, or am I wrong?
Riley?
Jake Elliott.
I don't know. Jake Elliott. Why did I say Riley?
So Jake Elliott, Harrison Butker.
Well, and last year McPherson did bomb one out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'll take my chances.
Wait. So you were wrong last year, Nate?
I was wrong last year.
You came in here with all the confidence of a schoolboy, and you were wrong.
I think McPherson's a better kicker than those other guys. Jake Elliott's like a 65% touchback, and I forgot Butker's number. I can get it for you. Give me like 2 seconds, but you can move on, and I'll tell you what.
Man, now you're gonna give us a losing bet when we got Steven.
I'm going with him. I'm going with him.
Steven's a first-time listener, and the first piece of information we're gonna give Steven is a bad bet.
So I finally realize how it is that I can talk about kickers on the show without getting crapped on, and that is to make it a bet.
I love it, Nate.
Harrison Butker, 64% touchback rate.
All right.
Jake Elliott, 65.
All right, so there's a chance. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make the bet, and hopefully we all win.
It's plus money. That's what I'm in for.
Chris is shaking his head, so I think he likes it. Nate, while you're here, while you're discussing this, what's your Super Bowl prediction?
If you're going off the spread right now, I'm taking the Chiefs with the points, but I don't want the Eagles to win, but I think the Eagles are going to win 31-30. So be a good game.
Who's your MVP?
Well, Hassan Reddick's plus 3,500 if you want to sprinkle a little money in that, because I think he will have a big part to help if they do win. But Jalen Hurts, I think it's hard to not.
Joe knows. What's your prediction, my friend?
I'm going 34-24 Eagles and Jalen Hurts MVP.
Jason.
So as the guy leading the team in pick'ems this postseason, I'll go Eagles 24-17.
Who's the MVP?
Devonta Smith.
Excellent. And George, what's your prediction?
27-17 Eagles with Patty Mahomes as the MVP.
Patty Mahomes. All right. Moon, what's your prediction?
That's a sweet bet, by the way.
This is tough, bro. What if I told y'all I got my hands on the script?
All right, let's hear it. Tell me more.
No,
Steven made his prediction, so I'm gonna state his prediction after you state yours. Pressure's on.
You can go with Steve. Go with Steve.
Yeah,
first.
Steven's saying Philadelphia 24-23. Maybe Steven's got the script. He says Pat has gone nuts all year, Mahomes, and I don't want the Eagles to win because they damn near burned down their city this year. Very true. Very true.
This guy obviously knows football and watches football and wonders why the algorithm hit. You're gonna put right in, Steven.
So I'm putting it in there. Steven, if you're on Twitter, follow me at Coach Sheps. And as long as the Eagles win, if the Eagles win, you get a free entry into our Frankenstank listener league. All right. So I'm keeping track of this. So Moon, it's back to you.
I'm going 37-34 Eagles. AJ Brown is the MVP of the game because he goes ballistic, because they tried to guard him with the rookie corners, and he feels disrespected by that. And plus, I'm just loving what Chris was talking about with the bet. So yeah, I'm sprinkling all that money on it.
Excellent. Who's your MVP? You said AJ Brown?
Arthur Juan Brown.
Brown MVP. All right, I'm just taking notes. Justin, go ahead, my friend.
I'm going to give that edge to the Chiefs and Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. I'm going to go 30-28 in a close nail biter with Mahomes winning the MVP, but only because he's the quarterback. I think there's a really good chance that people are going to be screaming for it to be a defender or possibly even MVS. I know a lot of people are down on him a little bit. A couple people in this show were down on him a little bit earlier, but I think MVS shows up in a big way, and he is that X factor.
Excellent. And here's just a note to everybody. Steven hates Twitter, so don't even mention it to him. All right?
Oh, gotcha.
Hates it. All right. Chris, Super Bowl prediction.
27-23 Kansas City Chiefs.
He had the anticipation was major there.
I think it goes under. The over-under right now is 50.5. So I think we stay under 50 points. But yeah, so it'll be a close game. I think Kelsey probably should get. I think Kelsey scores twice, should get MVP, but it will go to Mahomes.
Mahomes. All right, so he's got the Chiefs, Mahomes MVP, and then me last but not least. Unless Nino wants to come in after this and give his prediction, he's more than welcome to, but he might not be ready for the he might not have his makeup on yet.
Hey,
all right, I'm going.
Nino said Philadelphia 31, Chiefs 28, AJ Brown 8 for 140 and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, he already put it in there.
He's thinking similar to what I'm thinking. But my score was just different. Mine was just 3 points too. Mine was just 37-34. His just 31-28.
And Shay said Kansas City 30-28. Well, I am last. I'm going Eagles 27, Chiefs 24, and Jalen Hurts wins the MVP. So that is my prediction. Go ahead, Nate.
AJ Brown 18-1 MVP. So if you're feeling froggy.
Wow.
If you I'm going to put this down too. 18-1 odds for MVP. All right. Does anybody have anything else to say before we wrap this thing up?
I just want to give one last piece of advice to Moon on my way out the door for the show. One thing you need to keep in mind when you're dealing with Coach, just laugh at all of his jokes. Things will run smooth. That'll run really smooth if you just laugh.
Even if you don't get them. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm the only one who gets my jokes.
And I just did a test run, so we good, Jason. We good, Justin.
Dude, I believed it. I thought that was legitimate. So I like that. Your fake laugh is much better than Justin's fake laugh.
That's what I was gonna say, Jason. If Moon, while you're on here with Coach, if you can actually think of a name for the show on Tuesday
Oh,
night,
here we go.
Jason and I would greatly appreciate this.
Here we go.
I got you.
Moon, don't listen to their nonsense. They're out the door. They're with a new network. It's called Find a Network, boys. That's what their network's called. All right. It's not Toilets and Titles any longer. All right. That being said, the threats are
I
over.
did think I found the receipt. I did find a Super Bowl officiating crew.
Who is it?
Roy Ellison, umpire. Gerard
Okay.
Phillips, down judge. Jeff Bergman, line judge. John Jenkins, field judge. Eugene Hall, side judge. Dino Paganelli, back judge. And Mark Butterworth.
Dino
You heard that
Paganelli
correctly.
sounds like Nino's like fake name. Like Nino's alias is Dino Paganelli. Like that's he also known as, you know what I mean?
His name sounds like a dude that would throw the game.
Yeah. So
Well,
we're
at
already
least we-
suspect.
At least we don't have no Jerome Boger, so we should be good. We should be in good hands.
Unfortunately, I don't know what their tendencies are. But if you are interested, I mean, the NFL knows what they're doing when they hook up ref crews. So you could look at what this ref crew's tendencies are, kind of get an idea of how it's going to go with officiating. So that's something, if you're into that depth of analysis, go ahead and check that out. I do want to let everybody know, if you are interested in getting into our chat, it's open to everybody. It's a Gilded chat. Download the Gilded app. We'll send you the link. And then again, there's all levels. So if you're Patreon, we're going to get you that link as we roll it out. And we're going to get you exclusive access to all the DFS advice, the trade advice, all the exclusive content. And then everybody that joins that isn't Patreon, they're going to be on just the basic chat. We'll just be in there talking about content. They're going to be able to see the show schedule. They're going to be able to see article schedules. They're going to be able to see articles that we're working on, all sorts of stuff. And then again, once you're in there, the more you interact with us, the more stuff you'll unlock. So you'll be able to work yourself into different levels of access. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. We're on the ground level with this thing, but I think as we develop it and as we get comfortable with it, I'm really thinking this is something that's going to be fun for you. And again, we appreciate you joining us. This is episode 165. This is the third annual Super Bowl banger. And then Nate wants to interrupt my outro very rudely. So go ahead, Nate.
This officiating crew throws the most flags in the NFL.
There we go. So
right.
James Bradbury and Darius Slayton, you're going to have to be Darius Slay. You're going to have
214 flags this season in 17 games. They also ref like 2 or 3 Super Bowls together.
Go ahead, Boo.
We just put the link for the Discord, the Gilded server in the chat. So just click that link, fill out the application. It's going to be short, quick. Tell us what you love about T2T. And by then, you'll be on your fast track to join our growing new home. So it's out there for you.
Love it. There it is. And Joe, did you like how I combined an eagle with a giant by calling Darius Slayton? I never knew how similar their names were.
It's common.
Yes.
Believe me, when I'm hearing Giants content, people, Giants fans talk about the games and Philadelphia Eagles and Giants games. They often mix up Slay and Slayton. So understandable.
All right.
Don't worry,
All
Coach.
right, George.
We forgive you.
George, you wanted to say one last thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to the guy working behind the scenes. He's not on screen right now, Nino Brown, doing all the work, producing the show behind the scenes, making all the magic happen. Shout out to him. Thanks for all his work this evening. We appreciate him.
Yeah, show him some love by going and checking out all the content he's putting out there on the YouTube right now, man. The interview with Tajay Spears. And I think Moon was in that interview. And I think Tajay Spears said it was his best interview while in Mobile. So, I mean, that says something, especially when that dude was interviewed, I'm sure, by a lot of people because he had himself a pretty good week. So if he says it's the best, you're going to want to go check that out. Check out the YouTube channel, Toilets and Titles. Check out the YouTube channel, The CFB Nation. Subscribe to the Twitter account, Get In Gilded. Ride with us because this is the off season. But guess what? We are just getting started. We are like ground level. Jason knows, man. He works on spaceships and space shuttles. We're just about to take off. So you want to get on now because there's no way catching up once we're flying. Once we're through the roof, you don't want to be late to the party. So speaking of parties, hope you enjoy your Super Bowl party. Stay safe. Don't do anything dumb. Don't do anything reckless. If you're going to be drinking, don't drive. And enjoy yourself some wings, some pizza.
Hey, Coach.
Yeah, go ahead.
You got to let Chris do the send-off because they've been asking for him.
Yes. Chris, say farewell for the T2T crew in a blessed way from you, my friend.
Okay. So as we say in England, bonjour Take care. Have a good one. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Oh, they're going to eat that up.